Hi guys, it's Tony Clespis and welcome to my channel. I'm following up on my promise from Wednesday to post a video on today, Friday. And I'm going to be doing something that I like to call Fiction Friday. And what that means is that I'm just going to be reviewing something related to fiction. It could be books, it could be movies, it could be TV shows, just anything that I was obsessing about during the week that has to do with fiction. I'm not 100% sure if this will be the segment I do every Friday, but it's going to be what I'm doing today. So today's Fiction Friday is actually going to be a book review. And the book I've decided to review for you guys is a book called Every Day by David Levithan. I read it earlier this summer and I was just really blown away by it. It's kind of something different than what I'm used to reading. I do read a lot of young adult and fantasy books, and this kind of combines them into one. But it's just, there's something about it that's so different. So before I get into an actual review of it, let me just give you a quick plot rundown. So this book revolves around the life of A. And A is just this genderless entity, and they're literally living kind of day by day. What they do is they wake up in one body, and then the next day they're in a completely different body. Let me read you some of what's on the back of the book. It says, I wake up. Immediately I have to figure out who I am. It's not just the body opening my eyes and discovering whether the skin on my arm is light or dark, whether my hair is long or short, whether I'm fat, thin, boy, girl, scarred or smooth. It has always been like this. So right off the bat, you're thinking, what does that even mean? And I kind of read that back and I was like, this is really interesting. I've never heard of a book like this before. And what it does, it takes kind of this supernatural element of A going from body to body and kind of normalizes it almost. The book is told from A's perspective. And like I said, it kind of normalizes that supernatural feel of A doing his body, or not his, I should say, because A doesn't really have a gender, of A's body jumping. A kind of just lives their life day to day until the day that they meet someone named Rhiannon. A is living in the body of Justin that day, and he meets Rhiannon. I say he because of, the male body that A is in. A meets Rhiannon, and A just falls in love with her. He's fascinated by her. He's never met another person like her before. And A kind of obsesses over Rhiannon, I'm not gonna lie, but it's kind of natural. I don't want to say obsession is a natural thing, obsessing over a person is a natural thing, but because A never allowed themselves to feel love, A just kind of instantly attaches to Rhiannon, and A is willing to break everything they stand for, which is obviously just living in bodies day to day and just never really doing anything spectacular until they meet Rhiannon. It kind of deals with your whole perspective on gender, honestly. Since A doesn't technically have a gender, A is constantly moving from male body to female body. A doesn't feel like they use any kind of pronouns other than whatever body A is living in that day. One day A is in just a regular old body living their life, and then the next day they're in someone who is addicted to drugs and how A wants to combat that drug. A doesn't want to cave into that drug. A doesn't do anything to learn about that body that day except I don't want to do the drugs. And then the next day A is in a body and it's perfectly normal, and A is like, I want to talk to Rhiannon. I know I keep coming back to it, but there's just something so mundane about the supernatural in this book that doesn't give you a lot of answers. That was kind of one of the frustrating parts. But I also think that this author doesn't want to give you those answers to how A came about and how A jumps from body to body. They're not really plot relevant to the book. In fact, if anything, this book is more character driven than anything. It's about A learning how to be a normal person for once by experiencing the totally normal experience of love and attraction. And it makes for a really interesting read. I read the whole thing in a day pretty much. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I started it, I read about 10 pages, and then I put it down for about a week, and then I picked it up a week later, and I actually read the whole thing that day. So I say I read it in a day, but I really kind of read it in about a week. I just couldn't put it down. It was a page turner to me. I know some people know this might not appeal to. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but it was satisfying read to me, at least. So yeah, I definitely recommend Every Day by David Levithan. In fact, he even wrote a book from the girl's perspective, Rhiannon, in a book called Another Day, not Every Day, sorry. I haven't read it yet. I'm not currently reading it, but hopefully one day in another Fiction Friday, you'll see me talk about this book. I'm not 100% sure if next Friday will be a Fiction Friday, but if you're wondering, right now I'm reading Me, Earl, and the... Hi everybody, Editing Tony here. What I was trying to say before my camera cut off, I don't know why that happened, but it did. I am currently reading Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, so that might show up in a future Fiction Friday. I wouldn't guarantee it for next week. I'm kind of a slow reader, but that's what I'm reading right now, if anybody of you guys were interested. So yeah, and I also realized I forgot to film an outro. Anyway, so if you like that video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of me talk about fiction and things like that, then go ahead and hit subscribe and you'll never miss a video from me. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye!